What's the difference between bodybuilding and powerlifting? Bodybuilding is a style of training, and the goal is specifically to grow your muscles, usually with an eye towards aesthetics. You're trying to get your muscles to like look a certain way. You want them to grow in size, you want them to look aesthetic. Powerlifting is lifting with the idea towards being able to move as much weight as you possibly can and constantly trying to move more and more weight. So with bodybuilding, there's going to be a higher emphasis on hypertrophy training, which is high volume training, sets of like 6 to 12, sometimes even up to 20 or 25 repetitions, training towards muscle failure in order to get the muscles to grow. You can do hypertrophy in powerlifting because you do need your muscles to be, bigger in order to overcome, strength plateaus. So there's muscle building that goes into powerlifting, but it's with the goal of ultimately being able to push or pull more weight. Powerlifting also is centered around 3 major lifts: your back squat, deadlift, and bench press. So when you compete in powerlifting, you compete in those 3 exercises. You can use other exercises to incorporate into your training to develop your mobility or to build muscle or develop your technique, but specifically you're competing for strength in those 3 lifts in powerlifting. So if you are interested in getting into powerlifting, I would say spend a good time in bodybuilding, because bodybuilding will help you to develop the muscle and the technique with a lower amount of weight and higher amount of repetitions, so you get those reps in at a relatively safe weight. Spend a good year or 2 building muscle. You can do a bodybuilding program, or you can do like a powerlifting hypertrophy program, or a powerlifting, it's called an accumulation program or accumulation block. Build that muscle, build the technique first, and then over time start to introduce your body to high intensity lifts, which is when you're lifting heavy, right? For sets of 1, 2, or 3. But you really shouldn't be doing heavy sets of 1, 2, or 3 within the first year or 2 of your training. You're doing bodybuilding now? Good. Keep with that. How long have you been doing bodybuilding? And does your bodybuilding incorporate back squats, bench press, and deadlifts? Deadlifts all the way from the floor, right? So there's different types of deadlifts. The ones that we compete with in powerlifting are conventional, all the way from the floor, where you're pulling with your feet under your hips, arms outside of your legs. That's conventional. Sumo is your feet are out and your hands are in and you're pulling that way. If you're not doing those, just start adding some practice sets to your bodybuilding days. So like on a chest and shoulders day, add 2 or 3 sets of bench press with the bar if you're not doing it yet. And just practice sets at a higher volume, 8 to 10, 10 to 12, 12 to 15 reps. Start doing that. Just add that in at the beginning of your workout. And then on your leg days, you could do a couple practice sets of back squats. And then another leg day, or maybe a back day, you can do a couple sets of practice deadlifts. And then you just kind of start introducing that technique and start working on that technique, and then do the rest of your bodybuilding. That's kind of what I do for myself. Is like I do powerlifting practice as the beginning of my workouts mostly. I usually do 1 or 2 big lifts, my 3 big lifts. And then after that, I just do bodybuilding exercises. I should say I do accessories and bodybuilding exercises.